start,
This
right?
conference will now be recorded.
Oh,
And then I'm sure some questions might come up while you help us figure these out. As you
okay.
know, we started our pilot last week, and we started doing some configurations on our end, but we just have these key points to clarify um, at this point.
Okay, okay. So, okay, so the first point, like what you have said this, so whenever tickets are created, so earlier, as per the discussion, you wanted every ticket which gets created in Zoho Desk to be converted into a project within Zoho project. That was your requirement, and for which we said like, yes, it can be done using Zoho Flow, which allows you to integrate Zoho Desk with Zoho projects with the help of Zoho Flow, which
But is
generally
that
converts your. Yep, go
sorry to
ahead.
sorry to interrupt you, but is that the correct way to see things, or as Dragos discovered last week, can we think of a project as programming, and a lot of tickets from Desk will belong to that one project, or do we need to think of it as every single ticket will require a unique project?
Okay, that depends on how you want us to integrate. The reason is every new ticket can be created as a project, or every ticket from a specific customer can be associated to a project. Like you have to let us know how you want this to be done, and based on which I also have a person from Zoho Flow team, and they can let us know whether this can be done or if we need some testing. We can confirm that, and we can let you know in a day's time or by end of this call.
In an ideal world, we would have a couple of questions or a drop down at the very beginning indicating what type of a request do you have, and the drop down would contain programming,
Mhm.
DB, or something with CA related. And I'm assuming that those three items would correspond to three different projects. So whatever ticket is created would correspond to one of those three projects.
You can do that. I mean, like based on this criteria, see, I have just opened up Zoho Desk, and within the classification, you have like few options. Again, these options can be customized, and so if you want only the tickets which are chosen as programming or certain thing, and only those tickets to be moved to Zoho projects to create a project, even that can be done based on the criteria. So you have to let us know on what basis you want these tickets to be pushed to Zoho projects, and based on which we can do that for you.
I'm not sure. Sorry, I was so late. I was on a call that ran really long. I don't know if you provided any background information before I joined, Seuss or Juana or Jim, but how much do they understand our objectives? And should we start there as kind of at a high level, which may help drive the conversation?
Yes, I mean, yes, go ahead. I mean, I can understand like what exactly you're trying to get, and I can help you right away on what's your requirement.
Okay, great. So I'll start there. So since we've got Seuss and Dragos on the call, I'm going to use them as examples. So Seuss is the manager of our programming team, who script surveys for our business. So Seuss needs to be able to manage the workload of all. Let's say there's 6 different programmers on his team. So he needs to be able to manage the capacity and have visibility into all of the survey scripting requests that go into his team. Dragos will be doing something similar for our administration team that work on our platform, and he would have a team of about 20. And he similarly needs to be able to have insight into their capacity and manage their requests as they come in. So we were envisioning this that our users, our user base, would be able to come in, and just to keep it simple, there would be a drop down of, do you need an administration help, or do you need survey scripting help? So there would be that drop down that they would select, and then the rest of the ticket form would be related to either a programming request or a administration request. And then I think where we're trying to understand is how to best utilize So from the ticket in desk into flow and project. So I think our question is, in project, would it be better for Seuss to manage the capacity of his team? Do we just simply have a scripting project, a singular scripting project, and each time a ticket is created for a programming request, does it just add into that same single project, which gives him visibility into all the projects? And I guess when a ticket is closed, it would close that job in that project? Or is it better for us to, every time a scripting programming request is submitted in desk, to create a single project for each single request, and to still have visibility into all of the projects and be able to manage his team's capacity through all of those different projects?
Got it. Got it. I understood. So I also have Vinod Kumar from the pre-sales team. I mean, he's a senior pre-sales engineer. So he will be talking on this.
Oh, hi team.
Hi.
Wish you a great day. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I was listening to your conversation. Exactly as you said, two types of request. One is the programming request, the administration request, and the service scripting request can be added as departments in Zoho Desk application. And when a user submits a request, they can select the right department which the ticket has to be sent across. And based on that, the ticket gets created. Whenever the ticket gets created specific to a department, using Zoho Flow, a new project can be created inside Zoho Projects application. I leave it to you, the decision, because I'll tell you both ways it's possible in Zoho Projects. Every time there's a ticket being created specific to department, new project can be created in Zoho Projects, number one. Or number two, it will be even more better. Initially, you create a new project called administration. You create a project called survey scripting. And within the administration, if you don't have any subdivisions, it's all straight point to point. There is no administration A, administration B, to C, D, E, F, and so on. And if there is no service scripting A, B, C, D, and so on, if it is going to be point to point request, what you can do, create only one project for administration, create only one project for service scripting. Inside these different projects, create multiple milestones or multiple tasks so that you can allocate it to people and monitor stuff. This is my suggestion. If you have subdivisions inside administration, and if you have subdivisions inside survey scripting, then every time if it's going to be different, probably you can create new project. So at the end, you can pull out reports within one project across all milestones and tasks, or you can pull out report across all projects, across all milestones, across all tasks. But my suggestion will be, go for one project individually. No, only one project. Inside one project, have all milestones, tasks, subtasks specific to the right department what you want.
Okay, so it sounds like we can do either option. It just depends on if we want to have those I believe you call them subgroups, essentially.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I also wanted to understand, I know you are into market research organization, you're into market researching firm. So what type of survey scripting, and I also know that you have multiple subsidiaries. So what type of survey scripting and what type of administration work you will get, so that I can understand more?
So, Seuss, I don't know if you want to answer the scripting question. For administration, there are literally double digits types of work that they do, so it would probably take a long time to go through that. Scripting might be a better, just for the conversation of this call, might be better to
Done.
talk.
Review, reviewing the materials, asking questions, commencing programming, delivering programming, working on addressing errors, and then signing off on a project.
Those are the milestones, right? That's what you're.
Yes.
Yep. You're right. This is going to be a milestones. Yeah. Then I think it's going to be normal any other administration job, isn't it? It's not anything unique. So fine. My suggestion will be to make sure you go for individual project, only one project. Inside each project, you can create multiple milestones and so on.
So let's say we would go. Let's. I just want to understand fully. So let's say though we don't go with the single project. Let's say we go with the multiple group because we as I'm thinking about this, maybe we want to set up a different group for each of our clients so that Seuss could see how many projects are being or how many
Oh,
surveys are requested by
okay.
client. Would he
Okay.
still so at a high level, what we want to be able to accomplish in the project tool is again for Seuss or Dragos to be able to assess the capacity of his team and be able to better assign projects to the team members that have capacity. So if we have multiple groups within a project, let's say based on client, would Seuss still be? I think you said you could export or view all the milestones across all the projects, correct?
Yep.
And he would be able to see, okay, programmer number one has been assigned these two surveys that will take up, 6 hours of his day today, versus programmer number two has been assigned two projects that will take up 8 hours of his day, so he has no capacity left. And programmer number three only has been assigned two projects that only take up 2 hours of his day, so programmer three has capacity to take on this new project that has just been, or this new ticket that has just been submitted. Is that correct?
Yep, absolutely correct. So that we call it as resource utilization. So by looking at the resource utilization, you can know how many resources are underutilized, how many resources are overutilized, and how many resources are on par utilized. So absolutely, in case, so now you introduced me your client concept. So by the story, what I believe, since multiple clients involved, it's always advisable to go for different project when there is new requests coming in.
Okay. Could you show us in project an example of that allocation of the resources?
Yeah, sure. We'll do that. One moment.
And Seuss or Jim or Juana, feel free to jump in if there are other things.
Sure.
So you see my screen right now. One moment. Oops. So I'm the administrator of all the projects. Or to keep it very simple, if I'm a person who have access to more than one project, I will have a module called dashboard. In the dashboard, I will be able to see my calendar across all the projects. I'll be able to see my reports across all the projects and the overview, the bird's eye view across all the projects on the task, on the bugs, the milestones, and so on. The report, what you asked me, it's over here. I click on resource utilization report. I see a weighing scale, which exactly tells whether you're on par, below par, or above par based on the allocated time. How this weighing scale being calculated based on the time what has been allocated to you. Where do you go and set this up in Zoho projects? All you need to do is get into settings at the right top. You can get into organization settings, get into date and time. Here, you say business hours starts at 9 a.m. and ends at 6 p.m. for your organization. Now, once you set this up, next step, get into your projects, and obviously a new project will get created. Example, I have my old project which has been created, building construction. Here, I have segregated the project into different milestones: basement, ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor, out of which I get into the first milestone. And inside milestone, I have various task list: north, west, east, south. Let me get into west, and I see task 1 and task 2. So if I go back to east, I will see 4 different tasks under east task list. What are they? Apply cement on the floor to paste tiles. Before you apply the cement, you need to purchase cement from the shop. Once you apply cement, complete pasting tiles. After you paste the tiles, clean the floor so that it will be looking very shining. So these are the simple tasks which I've created for east task list. And when I create my task, I select the owner of the task. I say the status of the task. Now it's marked in red color because it's overdue. 1612 is gone. 1312 is gone. So what I do, it calculates the duration of the task. So 12 to 16, 13, 14, 15, 3 days. Then 8 to 13 is 5 days. 17 to 20 is 4 days. And now if I scroll to my extreme right, I see work planned. It
Can I
says,
have a quick Can I have a quick question? Can
go ahead.
we set up the duration in hours, not
Oh,
days?
yeah, very much. You click on it and you select hours. As simple as that.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
I
So
have a
now,
question, sorry. Instead of defining the workday as 9 to 5, our programmers work across different shifts, so 9 to 5 won't be the same for every single programmer.
oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Just a moment. We are actually working on that feature. I just checked with my developer here. As of now, you can have only one shift across your projects. There is no multiple shift available. But however, when you have a particular person coming in morning, uh, coming in Australian shift, coming in US shift, coming in UK shift, my suggestion is let it be a standard time. So once it is a standard time in Zoho projects, once he logs in, he will be able to automatically calculate the shift, automatically calculate the duration based on the days what he puts in. So it doesn't matter whether he comes at 9 hours, whether he comes at morning 9 or and he ends at morning evening 6 or during midnight. It what matters is 9 hours of job in a day. It can be any time to any time, but he has to stick to the place for 9 hours. That matters a lot. So you think that also will be a flexible thing for your programmers, or it's going to be standard?
The time, what do you mean?
The um, duration of hours for him. The whatever it is, he has to clock 9 hours. Either
Oh,
he comes in
yes,
the
yes,
morning.
sorry.
Then I think there's no issues. Let it be in the settings from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. But whatever it is, since it's 9 hours, it doesn't matter what time you put in at the backend.
All right, thank you. And
You're welcome.
we may have one programmer commence the project and a second programmer in a different shift finish the project and a different programmer work on requests or a change request, that is. Do you foresee that being an issue?
I don't think there's going to be issue. So we can set dependencies. So you think the three programmers going to talk to each other on a particular task? Uh, it can be done as dependencies. And the good news for you is we have task dependencies across multiple projects. So one task can talk to one task from one project, can talk to another task of different project, and so on, like a
No,
chain
it's
kind of.
not. Let me clarify. It's not. We won't know in the beginning if this programmer will be assigned this task, this programmer will be assigned this task. For whatever reason, if I'm programmer one and I commence the project and I start programming, I leave for the day and another programmer assumes the project and finishes programming.
Can you scroll back over to the left for me? Because this might answer the question you're asking, Seuss.
Mhm.
So,
You can assign multiple
Oh, got it.
programmers to a task.
so what I was going to ask is also, could we just leave it? So let's say there are these 4 different tasks here. Maybe we assign the first task to programmer 1. Can we leave the next 3 tasks with no owner? Because to Seuss's point, we might not know at the beginning who's going to own that. So can we leave those blank until, okay, so you can just leave them unassigned. And then once task 1 is completed, we could assign the second task either to the same programmer, or if their shift is ending, assign it to the next programmer.
You're right.
Does that answer your question, Seuss?
Yes, thank you. But
Lovely.
will the
Thank you. Thank you.
but the programmer that assumes the task, so say that programmer one commenced, and then programmer two comes in and continues, will that programmer two be in charge of assigning that task to him or herself, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. So when they log in, what calculates their log hours? So when I log in as programmer 1, I open apply cement on the floor to paste tiles. I click on log hours, and I can definitely define how many hours I work. So I say 6 hours. I can set my start date and end time, and I leave. Once a different programmer comes in, he can set a different time altogether and continue uh, logging hours for the same project, for the same task. So once this happens, I cannot just add any number to it and go, because there is an approval system available.
But this
So
is sorry to interrupt, but this is by task, not just by shift. I'm a script writer that I work on the Americas shift, Eastern time zone or Central time zone, or I'm a script writer that works on the I don't know, UK London time zone. It can't simply be applied for that employee across all their projects.
Oh no, as of now, we don't have shift timings in Zoho project, as I said. So we are actually working on it. It's going to be a feature which will get released soon.
But
So, but
Seuss, but Seuss, it basically still, if it's on a 24-hour cycle, it still says what the capacity is for that person in the
yeah,
24-hour cycle. It might be delayed. There
yeah.
might be some delays inside of the platform, but in general, you'll have a reasonable idea of capacity.
Got it. Thank you.
However, as he said rightly, 24 hours. So you can set 24 hours here in Zoho projects. So time format, 12-hour format or 24-hour format. You set 24-hour format, and whoever logs in, whoever actually logs the hours, they will be, when they log, is going to tell a time to you. that time will be AM or PM. So you can easily find out who's coming at EST, who is coming in the morning and afternoon. All right.
Okay.
So going back into these milestones, just let's say again we have two. Let's say we have two tickets that were submitted by our end users or our client. We have a
Mhm.
ticket for survey one and a ticket for survey two. I
Okay.
assume that in those tickets we can pass some of the information over and have basically templatized projects so that when each project is created, they would have the same milestones, correct? Already inserted into the project.
Absolutely. With the help of Zoho Flow, you already have project templates available. So with the help of Zoho Flow, you can link a project template to a project automatically based on criterias.
And then
So
for those tasks, can we assign in that template, can we assign kind of estimated time? So for task number one is going to be review questionnaire. Can we set that to automatically be set to say 30 minutes? And then, as the person that gets assigned it and starts to look at it, if they need to adjust the time for that one task, can they just adjust it?
oh yeah, absolutely. You can set the log hours in the templates for task. So not to worry about it. So I'm just opening a project template, and I have a milestone, and inside the milestone I have a task. Inside the task list I have a task. So when I open the task, I'll be able to add by default you say start after, work hours is 18 hours, start after let's say 2 days, and the duration is going to be 2 days. So start after 2 days, duration is going to be two days. You can change it to hours if you want. So automatically, once it starts today, it will end in next 2 days. If you change it to hours, it's going to end in next 2 hours, like that.
So, Suze, for us, you could set, review questionnaire, and we could set start after 2 hours. They have to respond within 2 hours, and then the duration could be set for 30 minutes. And then if it's a really crazy questionnaire, we could always adjust the duration after it's been assigned.
Sure.
Yep, yep, you're right.
Can you go back to that resource resource view so we can see the kind of the allocation of total work to each employee or programmer in this case?
Yeah, one moment.
So the red that says 48 and then 48 on Tuesday and 48 on Wednesday, is that the total hours or minutes or hours allocated to that employee on that day?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
And so red, I assume, is over, and is what is blue and green? Green looks like 0.
Yeah, the blue is also the work allocated, and the 0 is the free time. So in a day, he will have a particular time frame. So in a day, he works for 9 hours. So if you have a task beyond 9 hours, if you make him as an overutilized person, the blue will turn to red, and so on. As simple as that.
Okay.
Can you repeat that last part? When the
The
blue. Uh-huh.
the blue color is available because he comes in right time and he goes back to his home at the right time. The number of tasks are available for him is actually on par. It's perfect. There is no any extra time required, or he's able to share his burden with others very equally. But when it comes to 48 hours of what you see as first line item, there is no one else to share his workload. So that means he's allocated work beyond his capability, beyond 9 hours.
So
Yeah.
let's say for the second employee, Marcus Hope, if it's 9 hours, which is exactly his shift. If it's 8:59, so let's say he has 1 minute of capacity remaining. Would that switch to the green color, or would it still be blue because it's close to his? I'm just trying to understand from a quick visualization. So obviously, if it's red, they're over allocated tasks. If they're blue, it's exactly their hours. But if it's
And understood. So yeah, I understood. It's going to switch over back to green, so
okay.
that you will be able to understand that 1 minute left.
Okay,
So
so essentially, if it's green, that person has some capacity left. If it's red, they're over capacity, and if it's blue, it's exactly their shift.
Yep.
I'm wondering how this applies to programmers extending their shifts if we're busy. So that means obviously they will work over 45 hours. So we do have programmers who, to finish a task, will work past their end time by half hour to 1 hour.
Yeah, how would this handle overtime worked?
If it's going to be overtime, it's going to be overutilized.
Okay.
So I assume this resource utilization information is updated in real time, right?
Yep.
Whenever a task is allocated to someone and the time for it is defined, it's updated in real time here. No other changes from the manager's side is needed, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Can you go back to the dashboard again? I had one other question when we were looking at that. So under the My Overview, where it has tasks and bugs and milestones, is that something you can change the titles of? Like, for instance, could we change bugs to errors, or are
Oh
they
yeah. Oh
okay?
yeah. Yeah. But you can change the name bug to errors. No problem. You can get into settings at the right top, issue tracker. You get into configuration, and you'll be able to change it. One moment. But the answer is yes. You can
Okay,
change
yeah,
it.
you don't have to show. If the answer is yes,
Yeah.
we can do that later. Okay, great. Any other questions that you have, Seuss? I'm just trying to assess this from the programming side is just a little bit easier just because there's less tasks overall, but
Not for now, but I'm pretty sure I will.
yeah, of course.
We'll start configuring.
Did we answer all the questions
Yeah,
that you sent?
can we go back to the email that had all the questions?
Sure. This is what it is.
Yeah.
I think you answered the first one. So we'll have one general project.
Well, I think it depends, but it sounds like we can do either because we may want to split by client. I don't know. I think we'll have to get into it and see. Flow controls the flow of interactions, tasks. So I don't know. Should we pull up what Dragos and Seuss and I worked on last week? Should we do a quick kind of review of that and make sure we're on the right track for setting that up? Because I think to get this to be successful for the pilot, we need to have that set up in a place where we can start actually utilizing the tool, and I don't think we're there yet.
Rightly said. Yep. The only way to say yes, no is to set it up and see what are the constraints you are having. Then we can move on. I think you're right.
Okay, great. Dragos, I know you guys did some work after I left Chicago for Los Angeles. I don't know. do you want to summarize kind of where you left off?
Yes, basically, we have created separate departments. Basically, one for scripting, for programming, one for we call it SMX content for administrators, and we have set up the flow so that each new ticket should be assigned to that specific project, a bigger project, and that's about where we left it off.
Are you guys able to access our account and kind of review it and take us through it?
Or you want me to access your account and move on?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking would be helpful.
Sure, we can do that. And whom should I make as a presenter? I mean, currently, who has logged in to share this, do a screen sharing?
Dragos, do you want to do it? I think you had the most experience last week.
Okay.
Can I just make you as a presenter, Dragos?
Let me just get into the Zoho.
Okay. I have just passed on the screen sharing, I mean the presentation role to you, presenter role.
Okay.
So you have to just click on start sharing and we should be able to see your screen.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Awesome, I can do that.
Okay. So, basically, those are a few tickets that we have created for testing.
Uh-huh.
Uh, just back to the. Okay.
While he's getting set up, can I ask a couple other questions?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So one of the things you said at the beginning of the call that worried me a little bit was you said that the teams would define which department the ticket should go to.
Correct.
Is it possible that we can create a set of questions that ask the user, whatever, a set of questions that based on the responses, it determines the right department. So
Yes, it can be done because what we can do is like we have something called as an assignment rule. So depending on what you're going to choose within the request flow, say if you're going to choose a certain value, say like programming or architecture or whatever, and based on which automatically when a ticket gets created, this can be moved to the respective department. We can
Right.
even do that.
Our team's biggest concern, we have three big concerns. One is that if we don't make this desperately easy on the front end, compliance will be low. If we don't have, that's number one. So making it super easy there's going to be at least 9 different departments that I can think of that will be attached to this process. So making the users think of which department, there's going to be confusion always. So making it really easy for them, that based on what you said, they answer a question, then it automatically defines the department, then that would solve one. The second problem is the capacity management, which I'm confident that the dashboard that you've shown us with the capacity by resource will resolve. and the third for me is just, compliance from the actual resources that are assigned tasks to when they've completed the task, to remember to go in and check the box that they completed it, because it's also really easy just to forget to mark that box that I've completed it, and then at the end of the day, the capacity looks like, they're overdue, or they're beyond their deadline, or they don't have capacity when they do. Which I think you've now resolved two of my three questions. My third question will be, how do we make sure capacity? How do we make sure that the tasks that are, and I don't know if I'm using the right language. You have a project, and inside the project you have tasks, or do you have milestones, or what do you?
So you have milestone. The way I understand it, there's milestones and then there's tasks. So I would consider like a milestone to be, for programming, for example, the first milestone might be, start scripting, and the tasks would be confirm receipt and then review questionnaire. And then the next milestone might be deliver test links. And then the tasks for that would be, script survey, test internally, then deliver test links, would reach that milestone.
Got it.
Correct.
But at the end of each task, does the employee have to click completed somewhere?
Yeah, he has to mark it as closed.
Yeah, and that's so. What do we do, or what does the platform do to remind those resources to actually mark it as closed? Are there reminders? Are there, what?
There are no reminders. One moment, let me tell you. So at the end of the day, you will be, can you go to settings in Zoho projects? Can you go to the settings at the extreme right top? The tools icon.
Okay. So here in setup.
Yep.
Okay.
Personal preferences, notifications.
Notifications. Okay.
Activity reminder. Left hand side, activity reminder.
Activity reminder. Okay.
And you see this, the third section, overdue items.
Good, love it. Okay, fantastic. It should be. Is there a way that we can lock that for any of our employees, any of our resources from the master administration, so that that they don't have a choice? They're going to get reminders, and it's going to drive them crazy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They will not have option to get into settings at all. So not to worry.
Great. Okay. All right. So back to your other questions. I think, Jeff, we're going in the right direction.
Okay, Dragos, do you want to go back and kind of show them what we've done?
Yeah. So basically, we have created two departments and two separate projects for each one. And right now, when I create a new ticket, I can choose, Ipsos is basically programming, and the raw SMX is a department that has been set up for the SMX content project.
The administrators.
Yeah, for the administrators, yes. And basically, if source is selected, we have this custom template, which includes the specifics for a programming ticket. Well, this one still is the default ticket template.
So, okay, so we have something called as, I mean, depending on what you're going to choose, do you want certain fields to get populated or show up certain fields?
We have discovered how to input custom fields in this template. However, there are some fields that are still not removable from this template.
I think, Matt, were you referring to some autofill to automatically fill in some information, or did
Okay,
I
we
misunderstood?
also have two things. I mean, one is like department specific custom fields can be done because you said you will be getting two types of requests. Say one could be like say A and B. For A, you can decide what are the four fields which has to be filled in, and for B, you can have a separate set of fields. And you can do that by getting onto layouts, and you can also remove the fields which are irrelevant to your business. I mean, you have certain things here, right? I mean, in case if you want to take off certain fields, you can always go to settings. I can guide you probably, Dracos. You can just click on the settings in the extreme right top, and yeah, click on setup. Okay, and here you can go to layouts and fields under customization. Go to layouts and fields. Yeah, under customization, right side under
Okay,
customization, you have,
layouts and fields. Okay.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, click on that. And so once you get into layout and field, you have to just click on edit layout. Just scroll down. You have to just select the module. So it should be tickets module and choose edit layouts. Right in the bottom, you have edit layout. It's blue in color. Just within this, probably I'll take
Oh,
the
okay.
content.
This edit layout, yes.
Yep, yep.
Okay, and
And you can,
there are here some fields that are still non-removable. Can we still remove some of them?
no, because there are certain fields which are required to create a ticket. So, for example,
But
contact
can
name,
we rename them?
renaming is not possible. I mean, you can just click on
Okay.
settings. So just hover your mouse over the contact name
Okay. And
and
here.
click on settings. So you cannot remove this field because it says non-removable standard field because
Yeah.
you need those information to create a ticket like
But
customer name, subject.
you mentioned previously that instead of this this standard template, we can switch to a question module. Is that correct? Basically,
Yes.
ask them questions. What do you want us to do for you, and so on. How can we do that
Okay,
specifically?
so okay, we have two options. As I said, I mean, we have a dependency field. Say if you're going to choose a category as something like operating system, and the subcategory can be based on the category what you have chosen. So you can have four values under category, say A, B, C, D, and when you choose category as A, you can decide what has to be shown for the subfield. So based on the question what you have chosen, we allow you to populate certain fields. That's called like a dependency field. That is possible.
Mm, can
So you
you?
mean
I, I,
subcategories or something?
I'll do
Uh,
that. I'll just make myself as a presenter so that you can
okay.
see my screen.
Okay.
I'll just explain what I was trying to say. So hope you can
Okay.
see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So here, this is my test account. And so when I go here and when I choose the category as something like an operating system, the subcategory automatically changes based on the option what I have chosen here. So I get to see only the information related to operating system. So when I change this to something like say mobile devices or cars, automatically I get to see only the option. So the child fields value depends on what I'm choosing as a parent field.
Is there a way to, so when an end user first lands here, what do they see when they first land here? Is the first category already filled in? So mobiles or
It can
is
be
there a
anything.
way?
Even you can just make this as a none so that nothing will be selected here. And based on the value what they are going to choose, you can have the subcategory automatically populated.
Is there a way to hide those other questions until the category is selected? So I guess what we're trying to avoid is a respondent end user come in and either the category is pre-selected or there are just all these fields that may not be applicable to them. Can it be set up so that category is null or blank until they make a selection, and then any subcategory or other ticket fields they're conditionally displayed based on the selection. They're not
Okay.
visible when you first log in.
Okay. That is possible actually. So you're asking conditional field. Say, I think we don't have that feature in desk as of now, but that is in the roadmap. Say, for example, here this is CRM actually. And when I go here and see marital status is none, okay, you don't see anything here. So when I change the status from none to married, automatically you get certain fields which will get populated based on what I have chosen here. So when I
Can I
choose
ask?
this as married, yep, go ahead.
Sorry, can I ask a question? What I envisioned was having when our members land on a ticket, have just one ticket with one drop down. What kind of help do you need? Administration or programming? And if they select administration, transfer them to an administration specific ticket. Or if they select programming, transfer them to a programming specific ticket.
Hmm. We
Yeah,
can
that's
do
what I
that.
was essentially getting at. But so
That is,
what you were just showing us, though, that was, you said, on CRM. That's not something that we can do in Desk with those conditional.
yeah, conditional fields is something which we currently have it in CRM, and so I'll just double check because so we have already decided to give these things within Zoho Desk also. So let me just confirm whether this has gone live. Just give me 1 minute here.
Okay.
Dragosh, I already thought you implemented that conditional displaying. Or maybe I'm confused. Hello?
Okay, I don't think this is in Desk actually. Currently, the conditional fields is something which we have only in CRM, but I can definitely check this and I can let you know when this will go live. And again, in Desk, as I said, you also have this option. Okay, so based on any field, if you want the ticket to be automatically assigned to the respective department, yes, very well, you can do that actually within Zoho Desk. So you can always make a use of the assignment rules using which it can be moved to the respective departments. So
Res-
here actually I can have something like
Sorry,
this.
respective departments or respective projects.
It'll be respective departments. So this is how it will be. So tickets coming to any department. So I can say any department, and here I have to just specify the criteria. Okay, so I have to just go here, and I can say if subject contains, say something like say VPN down, and then based on this condition, I can decide where this ticket has to be moved. So I can just select a department, something like software department, and I can even decide to whom this has to be assigned. So you can set up the rule. So only when this criteria matters. So based on the criteria, what you're going to define, The ticket can be automatically assigned to the respective department, no matter how many departments you have. This is one option. Otherwise, you can give your end users direct choice. So when they try to create a ticket or when they send an email through customer portal or whatever, they do have an option to choose a department. So they can just straight away choose a department, and based on the department what they have chosen, automatically the ticket will get assigned to the respective department. And you can also have set of users. Say, yeah, it's not that everyone will have access to all the departments. So whenever you add an agent or allocate an agent, so these are my support agents, so I can decide who should have access to what departments. So right now myself, I have access to all the departments. And so if I add a new agent, I can decide whether he should have access only to selected departments or whatever. And
But
moreover,
sorry, in
yeah,
this, irrespective of the department that's selected in the ticket, will they all belong to the same project? I guess I'm now getting confused with the difference with project and department. Sorry.
departments are just used to categorize the way you get requests, because as I said, the departments within Zoho Desk is nothing but a channel. Okay, so if you're going to provide support for two different things, say one can be for technical support, one can be for say customer support. So technical queries can be handled by different set of team members, and say customer support can be handled by other set of other department members. So that's how we separate that. So that can be one option, or the second thing, it can be based on the application what you provide. So it's
So
just to route the
in our
information.
case, programming would be one department and administration would be a second department.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And they would live within the same project? Or, sorry, if the department, excuse me, is programming, then through the flow, we would assign the ticket to the project programming, else to administration.
Yes, you can do that actually. So you can have two different departments, and if you want uh, every time like created tickets created in administration to be a project in Zoho project, you can do that.
But
So
can
department is just to filter your queries. So just to filter your information, we have that. Otherwise, if you don't want to have two different departments, still you can just have one department, and that department can have both type of request. So once a request comes in, if you want to have two different views, say by default, what will happen is any request which comes into Zoho Desk under one single department, you can still see them. But if you want to filter your queries based on projects and other criteria, in that case, we even allow you to create a custom view where based on the criteria chosen within the ticket, you can still allocate or filter those tickets, and you can have two different views here. So you can just create a custom view naming as programming or project management. And you can just have two different filters. So all depends like how you want to have that. So that's these are like options what we are giving. So you can try and you can decide which will be the best one for you, and based on which you can implement the same.
Give an example of what the end user sees with the different views.
End users, this is something which will be viewed by your support agents, your support people. And for end users, we offer customer portal. So I can just log into a portal. So I'm just logging into one of the test customer portal. Okay, so I'm just logging into the Zoho Desk customer portal. So this is how the end users see. They can send an email to create a ticket, or they can even go to the portal and they can choose submit a ticket. Again, all the information what you see here in the top, including the URL where it says test.zoho.com. Even these URL can be customized to support.yourcompany.com, the logo, and when you click on submit a ticket, including all these things can be customized. So I can go here, have my subject, and I can have my description
Hold on.
here.
When you did that, though, it looked like different things disappeared, and so that's what.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean that looks like conditional. There's some sort of conditional logic here where certain fields are being displayed
Yes,
based on the department selected.
correct.
Correct.
Yes, department specific fields are available here.
So I think that is what we're looking for, right? We would have a department for programming, and then we would have fields for, the survey ID, the time to the delivery date, etc. And then a second department for administration team, which would have different fields based on their specific request for the CA team.
You can do that. The thing what we don't have is once you have chosen the department, but based on the secondary field, what you're going to choose is if you're going to choose something like classification, we cannot have some fields getting populated automatically. So department specific is possible.
Okay,
And
so
can
once
it be
the department is selected, all of the fields from there have to be displayed. So we can't have department for administration and then have subcategories for different
Yes,
administration tasks that would conditionally display fields. Is that what you're saying?
correct. So once you choose the department, all the fields which belongs to that department will get populated.
Okay.
what if all the fields for both departments are mandatory and I select?
You can do that. You can make certain fields as a mandatory, which can be done, and you need to have a value for those fields. Only then a ticket can be submitted. Say if you want your customer's phone number or say something like an account number which needs to be filled by the customer before submitting a ticket, you
No,
can
that's
do.
not, sorry. No, that's not my question. So say that I have 5 fields that are specific to department programming, 5 fields that are specific to department administration. They're all mandatory. And in the drop down, I select department administration and I'm shown the administration specific fields. What happens to the fields that are no longer displayed but are mandatory for programming? Will I receive an error message
I
while
think
trying to?
I think they're two separate forms, Zeus, if I understand it correctly.
Yes, you're right. There are two separate forms for the department.
I think the challenge
Got
for
it.
the challenge
Got
for
it.
us is more going to be on the administration side of because there are so many different things that they have to do. If the request for administration is to do a load qual content, but we have a bunch of fields associated for say recruitment setup, it's not going to make sense. So I think we're going to have to figure out the best way to handle that.
Yeah,
The
because
administration scenario.
you're right.
Is there
Because
is there
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Is there any limitation in the number of departments we can add? Because to your point, Jeff, I am thinking that maybe we can use departments to define, for example, for administration, for CAs to define more granular sets of tasks that we are doing, like I don't know,
Okay.
content or survey launch or whatever, and then we would have the custom fields populate.
Okay, as you said, I mean, we don't have any limitation on the number of departments as of now. So when you go ahead with Zoho One or when you go ahead with the enterprise edition of Zoho Desk, you will not have limitation. So only the professional edition allows you to have 10 departments, and enterprise is like unlimited departments. Even if you're going to have 1,000+ departments, no restriction on that.
Okay.
I think then it just comes down to, as Jim was saying, the ease of use for the end user. Are we going to want to have 15 different drop downs for CA departments? Okay. Do we have any other questions?
I would want to get into Matt to get into the nuts and bolts, but we don't have any more time on not on our specific request, but perhaps on something very simple, so we could use it as a guiding point to create our old setup.
Okay.
Dragos, you've spent the most time in it so far, setting things up. After all the stuff we've covered on this call, how do you feel about being able to continue down the path of setting up a pilot, at least getting a script writing form filled out, connecting it with Flow, and then setting up the project in Project?
Well, I feel the flow part was the hardest one actually, and I would love to hear from Matt if he has more time, how to properly integrate desk with the flow module based on what we have done previously.
Okay. Sure. I mean, like in case if you want us to take you through the flow, we can do that. I mean, so even we can do it now or later stage, even tomorrow, like because I have a person from the flow team who can help you with the integration part.
So basically what you're saying is that we can have someone from your side help us with setting up the pilot.
Yes, I mean, say initially, if you say this is my requirement and if I want to see that, we can have a person from the Zoho Flow team, and I can also be on the call and I can get the instruction like what exactly you're trying to do. And we should be able to even do that in your test account and show you how, whenever a ticket gets created, how a project gets created. We can take you through that. I mean, if you want, we can do it tomorrow, and based on your availability, I can set up another call with my flow team and take you through the entire process.
I think that sounds good. Dragos, do you have availability tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow is my last working day. I don't know. Would we want that set up tomorrow?
Anytime, I
The
mean,
project on
we
our
are
side,
open. Like,
because
we-
I don't think that I will have time to set up a project for administration tomorrow. So
okay.
You come
Well,
back,
perhaps it will be
Dragos.
better in January.
hold,
After we'll get back after 2nd January.
hold on, Dragos. I'm I'm hesitant to push this out further because I think Jim's goal was to be able to have the pilot in field and have results by the end of January. So I'm hesitant to push it back. What else is and maybe we just talk about this without Matt. He's appreciate all your help today, Matt. But I guess what can we do, Dragos, to take things off your plate tomorrow that we can make this meeting happen? Dragos?
Yes. Well, if it will be a 30 minutes meeting, it will be okay.
Well, I think we need to book at least an hour.
Okay, let's book an hour.
Okay, what time works best for you? And then offline, we'll let Matt drop off once we set the time. But let me know what I need to do to find capacity for you tomorrow.
Okay. So
For me, I'm available from 11:30 Eastern until 3 p.m. Eastern. Anytime in that block, I can make work. Or really, actually, my 3 o'clock isn't. I could cancel if I have to. So basically, I can make myself available anytime between 11:30 and 5 p.m. Eastern. What works best for you?
Okay, so 11:30 a.m.
Yes,
Eastern.
11:30 a.m. Yes, so that would be
6:30
6:30 your
p.m.
time.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do it 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 if Matt's team also.
Okay. We can do that. So 11:30, like, what will be the time? I mean, time zone. I need to know. Is it like CST or what standard time?
11:30 Eastern.
EST. Okay. Sure.
And both
Okay. Sure.
you and your colleague from Flow can join then.
Okay, then we can do that. So it'll be like then we can do that. So it's 11:30 EST, and you want to call.
Yes, that would be fantastic. If you could send over your link for the WebEx again, we'd appreciate it.
It can't
Sure.
be at 11. Sorry, at 11:30 Eastern. That's the time Jim has a meeting scheduled that I have to participate in. The gamification.
Okay. So,
So can we advance it?
Yeah, Susan, then what works for you? We need to figure. Should we? Let's
12.
let's drop off the call. Let's just, or Matt, let's just drop off the call. Let's connect internally, and we'll send over the time to Matt via email.
no problem. We can do that.
Yeah, I really appreciate your help today. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Tim. And should I send the recording to everyone or any one of you? The recording would be
Just send it to all of us. That way we all have.
awesome. I'll do that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hey guys, I'll Skype you. I'll set up a Skype call to
Okay.
chat. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
recording அனுப்பாத